Have you ever heard the gentle sound of a hand plane sliding across a piece of wood? Or the rhythmic tap of a chisel revealing patterns hidden deep inside a tree's heart? These are not just sounds. They are the voice of a timeless craft, passed down through countless generations. Welcome to the world of Vietnamese woodworking. In this land of ancient temples, winding rivers, and bustling villages, wood is more than just a material. It is a living, breathing companion, a bridge between the past and the present, between nature and the human soul. For centuries, Vietnamese artisans have transformed humble logs into masterpieces, altars that anchor sacred spaces, intricately carved doors that tell family stories, stately furniture built to last through lifetimes, and statues that seem to breathe with quiet grace. But this is not only a story about objects. It is a story about people, about patience, about devotion to a craft where no detail is too small and no gesture is wasted. Today, we invite you to journey with us, to walk through the workshops of Vietnam's most skilled woodworkers, to listen to their stories, and to witness the extraordinary life they bring to wood. And if you love discovering timeless crafts and cultures from around the world, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us keep these beautiful stories alive and share them with more people who, like you, appreciate the value of tradition. So, are you ready? Let's begin. The story of Vietnamese woodworking begins long before written records. It begins with the land itself. Vietnam is a country blessed with rich forests, dense with valuable timber. From the ancient highlands of the north to the lush lowlands of the Mekong Delta. For centuries, the Vietnamese people lived close to nature. Wood was everywhere, and so it became an inseparable part of daily life. Long before modern tools, even before metal was common, early Vietnamese communities used stone tools to shape wood. Archaeologists have found one, scripture, nature, or folks and viable. One of the earliest cultural treasures of Vietnamese, shaped wood when they using the mir targaze, was massive, unbassive stone wood gatting. One of the earliest cultural treasures of Vietnam is the bronze drum of Dong Son, though it boasts with wooden oars and scenes of daily life carved into its surface. Even then, wood was not just a building material. It was a symbol of life itself, a canvas for stories, and a connection to the spiritual world. As time passed, Vietnamese woodworking flourished under the dynasties of old. By the time of the Le and Trun dynasties, over 1,000 years ago, Vietnamese artisans had mastered advanced techniques of carving and joinery. Temples and pagodas rose across the land, their wooden beams and pillars standing tall and proud. The most sacred of spaces, built not of stone, but of wood. Why? Because wood breathes, because it resonates with life, because it ages gracefully, just like the human spirit. And so, the temples of Vietnam were built to feel alive. Step inside an ancient pagoda today. You can still smell the faint aroma of aged wood. You can hear the gentle creak of centuries-old floors. You can feel the warmth that stone could never give. In villages and towns, woodworking became more than a skill. It became a respected art. Craftsmanship was handed down from father to son, from master to apprentice. Each piece made, whether a simple spoon or a royal throne, was crafted with devotion and pride. But woodworking was not limited to the grand and the wealthy. Every Vietnamese household, rich or poor, relied on wood. Beds, chairs, altars, rice containers, everyday objects, lovingly crafted to last through generations. And then there was the spiritual side. In Vietnamese belief, wood holds energy. A well-carved statue of the Buddha, a finely crafted ancestral altar. These are not just objects, they are vessels of meaning, bridges between the material world and the spiritual one. That is why, even today, families choose specific types of wood for sacred items. Not just for beauty, but for harmony, for good fortune, and for respect. As foreign influences came and went, the heart of Vietnamese woodworking remained strong. The French colonial period introduced new styles, but Vietnamese artisans blended them with traditional techniques. The result? a unique fusion of East and West, still visible in many antique Vietnamese pieces today. Through wars, through hardships, the woodcarvers of Vietnam kept working. Even when materials were scarce, even when times were difficult, they continued to create. Because for them, woodworking was not just a job. It was a way of honoring their ancestors, a way of preserving their culture, a way of expressing the beauty of the human hand and heart. And today, as we explore this timeless craft, we remember that every piece of wood holds a story shaped by nature and given voice by the hands of a craftsman. If you're enjoying this journey so far and want to keep discovering more about the rich traditions of Vietnamese woodworking, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us share these beautiful stories with the world. In the next part, we will visit the villages where these ancient skills are still alive, where every street echoes with the rhythm of chisels and saws, and where the art of woodworking continues to thrive. Stay with us. Now that we've explored the deep roots of Vietnamese woodworking, let's take a journey across the country. A journey to the heart of the craft, to the villages where wood is still shaped with care and tradition. In Vietnam, woodworking is not confined to factories. It lives in the rhythm of daily life, in small workshops, in family homes, and along village streets where the scent of freshly cut wood fills the air. There are many such villages, each with its own proud history. Today, let's visit a few of the most famous. First, we travel to Dong Qui in the province of Bac Ninh. For centuries, Dong Qui has been known as a village of master carpenters. Here, artisans specialize in crafting luxurious wooden furniture, chairs and beds, wardrobes and cabinets. Each piece is richly detailed, often featuring dragons, phoenixes, and intricate floral motifs. In Dong Qui, woodworking is a way of life. Children grow up learning the sounds of saws and planes, and families take great pride in passing their skills from one generation to the next. Now, let's head south to Son Doong village near Hanoi. Son Doong is famous for its sacred wood carving. Here, artisans create statues of the Buddha, of bodhisattvas, and of revered Vietnamese heroes. These statues are not mass-produced. Each one is carved with reverence, following strict spiritual traditions. The choice of wood matters greatly. Artisans often use jackfruit wood, believed to be auspicious and long-lasting. A statue from Son Doong is more than art. It is a sacred object, meant to inspire devotion and peace. Next, we travel to central Vietnam, to Kim Bong village near Hoi An. Kim Bong's story is one of resilience. During the golden age of Hoi An, when it was a thriving port city, Kim Bong's woodworkers built ships, carved intricate architectural details, and crafted fine household goods. Even as Hoi An's fortunes changed, the spirit of craftsmanship in Kim Bong endured. Today, the village is alive with the sound of chisels and mallets. Visitors can walk through the narrow streets and watch artisans restore ancient wooden houses, carve beautiful boats, and create elegant carvings that capture the spirit of Vietnam's central coast.
Finally, let's journey to the Mekong Delta.
To My Xuyen in Soc Trang province.
Here, the craft reflects the unique cultural blend of the region.
My Xuyen is home to a large Khmer community. Their wood carving style incorporates Khmer motifs,
Lotus flowers,
divine figures,
and flowing patterns.
Artisans here are known for their precision and grace. Their work is often used to adorn pagodas and ceremonial spaces.
It is a beautiful example of how Vietnamese woodworking embraces diversity
while honoring tradition. Across Vietnam, there are many more such villages, each one a living testament to the enduring power of craft. Each one a place where wood is more than material. It is memory, identity, and art.
Walking through these villages, you can feel the heartbeat of the craft.
You can hear the stories carried by each chisel mark,
See the wisdom in the hands of an old master,
and witness the joy of young artisans learning to shape wood with love. This is the beauty of Vietnamese woodworking. It is alive, it breathes, it connects the past with the present, and carries hope into the future.
If you are enjoying this journey through Vietnam's woodworking heritage
and would like to explore more timeless crafts and stories from around the world, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support allows us to share these beautiful traditions and to honor the artisans who keep them alive. In our next chapter, We will meet some of these remarkable artisans, the keepers of the craft, the storytellers of wood, and the hearts behind Vietnam's most exquisite carvings. Stay with us, the story continues. Behind every beautiful carving, behind every polished surface, there is a pair of hands. Hands that know the language of wood, that listen to its grain, its weight, its soul. In Vietnam, woodworking is not just about tools or techniques. It is about people, about artisans who dedicate their lives to this ancient craft. They are the true keepers of tradition. Let's meet some of them. In a small workshop in Son Dong village, master artisan Le Van Hung begins his day at sunrise. He is 68 years old. For over 5 decades, he has carved statues of the Buddha, of bodhisattvas, and of revered ancestors. His tools are simple: a set of chisels, a mallet, his eyes, and his heart. He begins by studying the block of wood before him. He touches it gently, as if greeting an old friend. Then, with careful strokes, he brings forth the figure hidden within. When asked why he continues to work after so many years, he smiles and says, "Because each piece teaches me something new. The wood speaks to me. I only help it tell its story." This is a common spirit among Vietnamese artisans. They do not see themselves as creators imposing their will on wood. They see themselves as partners, listening, responding, respecting the life within each piece. In Dong Qui, we meet another master, Nguyen Thi Hoa. Yes, woodworking is not just for men. Hoa is a third-generation furniture maker. Her grandfather carved imperial-style chairs for nobles. Her father crafted ornate beds for wealthy merchants. Now, she leads her own workshop. Her specialty? Creating modern furniture that still honors traditional craftsmanship. "I want young people to see that woodworking is not old-fashioned," she says. "It is alive, and it can be beautiful in every home." Her workshop hums with activity. Apprentices sand curved chair legs. Senior artisans inlay mother-of-pearl into cabinet doors. Hoa moves gracefully among them, checking each piece, offering gentle corrections. Patience is the most important tool, she often reminds her team. You cannot rush wood. It teaches you to slow down, to be present. In Kim Bong, we meet another remarkable figure, Truong Minh. He is known as the Boat Whisperer. For decades, he has built wooden boats used by fishermen along Vietnam's central coast. "A good boat," he says, "must not only float, it must sing with the water." Truong Minh works without blueprints. His designs live in his memory, passed down from his father and his grandfather before him. He selects each plank with care. He bends the wood with fire and steam, coaxing it into graceful curves. As the boat takes shape, he runs his hand along its sides, feeling for imperfections invisible to the eye. When asked about retirement, he laughs. "As long as my hands can hold a chisel, I will keep building. It is who I am." Such devotion is common among Vietnam's woodworkers. To them, this is not a profession, it is a calling, a way of life. Yet the path is not always easy. The market is changing. Mass-produced furniture floods the cities. Plastic and metal replace wood in many homes. Young people are tempted by other careers, but hope remains. In recent years, a new generation of artisans is returning to the villages. They seek to blend tradition with innovation. Some open small studios, combining classic carving with modern design. Others teach woodworking to children, ensuring the craft will not fade away. Master Le Van Hung puts it simply, we must not only preserve the old ways, we must help them evolve so they stay alive in the hearts of the young. As we meet these artisans, we are reminded of a simple truth. A beautiful carving is not just a piece of wood. It is a conversation between the past and the present. It is a gift of time, skill, and love. If this glimpse into the lives of Vietnam's artisans has touched your heart, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue to share these beautiful stories and to honor the craftsmen and women who keep these traditions alive. In our next chapter, we will explore the fascinating world of wood itself, the types of wood chosen by Vietnamese artisans, and the deep philosophy behind every selection. Stay with us, the journey continues. To a true woodworker, Not all wood is the same. Each type has its own voice, its own spirit. The choice of wood is not just a technical decision. It is an act of respect, of understanding, of harmony with nature. In Vietnam, this philosophy runs deep. An artisan does not simply ask, "What is this wood good for?" They ask, "What does this wood want to become?" Let us explore some of the most cherished types of wood in Vietnamese woodworking and the beautiful meanings they carry. We begin with jackfruit wood, known locally as go mit. This humble tree grows abundantly across Vietnam. Its wood is light, easy to carve, and remarkably durable. But more importantly, jackfruit wood holds deep spiritual significance. For centuries, it has been the preferred choice for carving statues of the Buddha and for crafting ancestral altars. Why? Because jackfruit wood ages beautifully, taking on a warm golden hue over time. It symbolizes purity, humility, and the enduring bond between generations. In temples and homes across Vietnam, you will find jackfruit wood carrying the prayers of countless families. Next, we come to rosewood, or go hong mo. This is a rare and precious wood. Its rich, dark grain seems to ripple with hidden depths. Its scent is subtle, yet unforgettable. Rosewood is often used for fine furniture and for instruments such as the dambo. To Vietnamese artisans, rosewood symbolizes nobility, wisdom, and timeless beauty. A rosewood chair or table is more than an object. It is a legacy, crafted to outlive its maker, to be treasured by generations yet to come. Another beloved wood is lim, or go lim. Lim is a hardwood of incredible strength. It resists insects, decay, and the passage of time. It is the wood of great buildings. The ancient temples of Vietnam, with their towering wooden pillars, often stand upon foundations of lim. To the Vietnamese mind, lim represents steadfastness, integrity, and resilience. A structure built with lim is built to endure. Then there is dalbergia, known as go track. Highly prized for its exquisite grain and deep reddish tones, dalbergia is the wood of artistry. It is used to craft intricate decorative pieces, elaborate inlays, and ceremonial objects. But working with dalbergia demands great patience. It is a dense, stubborn wood, requiring sharp tools and a gentle hand. Artisans say, dalbergia teaches you humility. You must listen to it, not force it. This philosophy reflects a larger truth in Vietnamese woodworking. A master woodworker does not impose their will upon the wood. They collaborate with it. They honor its nature. They believe that every log carries within it a destiny. Their role is to help reveal it, with skill and with reverence. This is why artisans take great care in selecting each piece of wood. They touch it, smell it, listen to it. A slight change in tone when tapped may reveal hidden flaws or hidden potential. Before beginning a carving, many artisans will spend days simply contemplating the wood. They let their hands learn its shape, its texture, its energy. Only when they feel truly connected to the wood do they begin their work. This mindful approach transforms the act of woodworking into a kind of meditation. It is not a race to finish, but a journey of discovery. And it is why many Vietnamese woodworkers believe that the final piece carries not only their skill, but also their spirit. As you walk through a Vietnamese home or visit a village temple, you may sense this. A carved altar that seems to radiate warmth. A polished table that invites your hand to trace its surface. A wooden statue whose gaze seems alive. These are not accidents. They are the result of a deep and beautiful dialogue between human and nature, between artisan and wood. This is the heart of Vietnamese woodworking. If you have enjoyed learning about these sacred woods and the timeless philosophy that guides their use, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support allows us to continue sharing these stories and to celebrate the artisans who give life to this remarkable craft. In our next chapter, we will step inside the workshop. We will follow the entire process of creating a wooden masterpiece, from raw log to finished work of art. Stay with us, the journey continues. By now, we have seen the beauty of Vietnamese woodworking. We have met the artisans and explored the sacred woods they choose with such care. But how does a masterpiece truly come to life? How does a rough, unshaped log become a work of art that speaks to the soul? Today, let's step inside the workshop. Let's follow the journey from beginning to end. It all begins with the selection of the wood. As we learned, this is no casual choice. The artisan studies each log carefully, examining its grain, its weight, its scent. The right piece must resonate with the spirit of the intended creation. Once chosen, the wood undergoes a vital process, seasoning. Freshly cut wood holds moisture. If carved too soon, it will warp, crack, or lose its shape over time. So the artisan allows the wood to rest, sometimes for months, sometimes for years. It is stacked carefully, protected from harsh sun and rain, allowed to breathe, to settle, to find its natural balance. When the wood is ready, the real work begins. The artisan studies it once more, visualizing the final form hidden within. Many do not draw detailed plans. They work from memory, from intuition, from a deep dialogue with the material. The first stage is called rough shaping. Using saws and axes, the artisan cuts away large sections of wood, revealing the basic outline of the piece. This is a bold stage, requiring strength and confidence. One wrong cut could ruin the entire project. But here, the master's eye guides each stroke. There is no rush, only respect and patience. Next comes the stage of refining the form. Now, chisels and planes take the lead. With each careful movement, the artisan brings the piece closer to life. For a sculpture, the face begins to emerge. Now that we've explored the deep philosophy behind choosing the right wood, let's step inside the workshop and witness the journey of transformation, a journey where raw, silent timber becomes a work of meaning, of movement, of soul. Creating a wooden masterpiece is not simply a process, it is a ritual. And like any ritual, it begins with stillness, with observation, with respect. The first step is selecting the wood. As we saw earlier, this decision is not rushed. The artisan studies the grain, the moisture, the weight. Some listen to the wood by tapping it gently, listening for the tone it sings back. Once the perfect piece is chosen, the artisan begins with the design. Sometimes it's a mental image passed down through memory. Other times it's a rough sketch made with charcoal right on the surface of the wood. But always the design is flexible. It adapts to the shape, the flaws, and the gifts of the wood itself. Then comes the first bold act, rough shaping. With hand saws, axes, or power tools, the artisan begins removing what does not belong. This is where the form is born. A chair's curve, a statue's posture, a table's strength, all emerge from within, and yet this is only the beginning. Next comes carving, the heart of the process. Here, time slows down. Each chisel stroke is deliberate, each motion guided by years, even decades of experience. Some patterns are traditional, dragons, lotus flowers, sacred symbols. Others are more personal, abstract, intuitive. Regardless of style, the carver's hand is steady, focused, almost meditative. There is a quiet in the workshop during this phase. Only the sound of tools and breath, and wood, gradually revealing its story. Once the carving is complete, the piece enters its next life, smoothing and finishing. Artisans use rasps, sandpaper, and cloth, sometimes for hours or even days, to soften the edges, remove any roughness, and bring out the natural beauty of the grain. This stage is often shared with younger apprentices, a way to train the next generation in patience and touch. Some finishes are kept natural, letting the wood speak for itself. Others are treated with oils, wax, or lacquer, depending on the tradition of the region or the purpose of the piece. If the object is sacred, such as a statue or altar, it may be blessed by a monk or placed under incense smoke for purification. In some villages, elders gather to bless the final work before it leaves the workshop. Only then is it considered truly complete. What began as a tree has now become a vessel of beauty, of memory, of spirit. But this journey is not just about tools and technique. It is about rhythm, breath, understanding when to act and when to wait. An experienced artisan knows when to chisel and when to pause, when to push forward and when to step back. They say if you force the wood, it will break. But if you listen, it will guide your hands. This quiet relationship between wood and nature is what gives each piece its magic. It is why, when you look closely at a finely carved table or statue, you feel something more than admiration. You feel presence. You feel care. You feel the touch of another human being across time. And that is what turns a wooden object into a wooden masterpiece. If you've enjoyed watching this transformation and would love to explore more stories of craft and tradition, please subscribe to our channel. Your support allows us to keep documenting these beautiful processes and to honor the hands that keep them alive. In our next part, we will dive deeper into the artistic soul of Vietnamese woodworking. We'll explore the philosophy of design, how aesthetics, nature, and spirituality are all carved into the final piece. There is still so much more to discover. Stay with us. By now, we've witnessed the skill, the patience, and the devotion it takes to craft a wooden masterpiece. But beyond technique, beyond tools, lies something deeper, something you can't measure with rulers or capture fully with words. It is the philosophy of aesthetics, the spirit that shapes how beauty is seen and expressed in Vietnamese woodworking. In this tradition, beauty is not about perfection. It is about harmony, about balance, about honoring the nature of the wood and the spirit of the piece. There is an old saying among Vietnamese artisans: perfect symmetry is the mark of machines. Life is found in imperfection. This idea is rooted in both Buddhist thought and in Vietnamese folk wisdom. A wooden sculpture or a carved panel should feel alive. It should breathe. It should invite the eye to wander, to linger, to discover new details over time. That is why many traditional Vietnamese carvings feature flowing lines, rather than rigid geometry. Think of the curve of a dragon's tail, the gentle ripple of a lotus leaf, the graceful folds of a Buddha's robe. These forms are not about technical precision alone. They are about rhythm, about flow, about life. Another key principle is respect for natural beauty. In Vietnamese woodworking, the wood itself is seen as a co-creator. Its grain, its knots, even its flaws are embraced, not hidden. An artisan may leave a small natural knot visible in a tabletop, or allow a live edge to frame a carved panel, because these marks remind us that the wood was once alive, that it carries its own history, just as we do. This philosophy echoes the concept of wabi-sabi in Japanese aesthetics, but in Vietnam it's expressed through a uniquely local lens. In Buddhist-influenced pieces, such as statues or altars, the goal is to evoke a sense of calm presence. The lines are soft, the expressions gentle, the proportions designed to create a feeling of peace and spiritual openness. You are not meant to simply look at such a piece. You are meant to sit with it, to feel its energy, to let it remind you of life's deeper rhythms. In more decorative pieces, such as furniture or architectural details, symbolism plays a key role. You will often see carvings of dragons, symbols of power and wisdom, phoenixes, symbols of renewal and grace, lotus flowers, representing purity amid the mud of the world. Each symbol is placed with care, not just for beauty, but for meaning. A carved bedhead featuring a phoenix is not merely a ornate. It is a wish for resilience, for rising above life's challenges. A dining table adorned with lotus motifs is not simply decorative. It is an invitation to gather in purity of heart and in harmony. This integration of form and meaning is at the heart of Vietnamese aesthetic philosophy. But perhaps the most subtle aspect is the pursuit of quiet beauty. In Vietnamese culture, loud displays of wealth or skill are often frowned upon. True artistry lies in restraint. A master artisan will often say, the best piece is the one that makes you feel, not just admire. This is why, even in the most elaborate carvings, there is always a sense of space, of lightness, of invitation. The piece does not shout, it whispers. It welcomes you to return again and again, to see more, to feel more, to connect. And this is what makes Vietnamese woodworking so special. It is not just about creating objects. It is about creating experiences. Moments of connection between the viewer, the maker, and the spirit of the wood itself. If this deeper look into the soul of Vietnamese aesthetics has inspired you, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue exploring these timeless traditions and sharing them with people around the world who value beauty and meaning. In our next chapter, we'll discover some of the most remarkable stories of inspiration for Vietnam's woodworking villages. Stories of resilience, of creativity, of the human spirit carved into wood. Stay with us, the journey is far from over. Throughout this journey, we've seen the beauty of Vietnamese woodworking. We've explored its history, its techniques, its deep philosophy. But perhaps the most powerful part of this craft is not in the objects themselves. It is in the people. In every woodworking village across Vietnam, there are stories of resilience, stories of dedication, stories that remind us that the human spirit can be as strong and as beautiful as the finest piece of wood. Let me share with you just a few of these stories. In the village of Son Dung, there lives an artisan named Nguyen Van Dung. Dung was born with limited vision. As a child, he struggled to read and write, but he loved to sit beside his father's carving bench, listening to the sound of chisels, feeling the shapes of finished statues with his hands. One day, when he was just 12, his father placed a small block of jackfruit wood before him and said, "Let your hands see what your eyes cannot." From that moment on, Dung trained tirelessly. He learned to feel the grain, to sense the curves, to trust his touch above all else. Today, Habram, he is a respected master. His Buddha statues are known for their profound serenity, their gentle presence. Visitors often ask him, "How do you carve such peaceful expressions?" And he simply smiles and replies, "Because I listen to the wood with my heart." Another remarkable story comes from the Kim Bong village. There, a young artisan named Tran Thi Mai is leading a quiet revolution. Mai grew up in a family of boat builders, but as tourism grew in Hoi An, demand for traditional boats declined. Many young people left the village, seeking other jobs. But Mai saw an opportunity. She began designing miniature wooden boats, blending traditional craftsmanship with modern aesthetics. Her creations soon attracted attention, both from tourists and from international collectors. Now, she employs a small team of young artisans, bringing new life to her village's craft. "We can honor the past," she says, "but we must also create new stories for a new world." Then there is the story of Master Pham Van Tum in Dong Qui. Master Tum is over 80 years old. He has been carving for more than 6 decades. In his small workshop, surrounded by the scent of rosewood and the soft glow of aged tools, he still works, slowly, patiently. His specialty is ancestral altars. Each one takes months to complete, not because of technical difficulty alone, but because of the meaning each piece must carry. "When I carve an altar," he says, "I think of the family who will gather before it, of the prayers, the tears, the hopes they will share. I want every curve, every flower, to hold compassion." He believes that woodworking is not about fame or fortune. It is about creating objects that serve life, that connect people to what matters most. One of his most moving moments came a few years ago, when a young couple asked him to restore their family's damaged altar. Their home had burned, he recalls softly. "The altar was almost lost. They brought me what remained, in tears." Master Tom worked day and night, restoring the piece with great care. When he returned it to them, the young wife wept with gratitude. "You have given us back our home," she whispered. "No," he replied gently. "The love you carry in your hearts gave this altar life again." Stories like these are everywhere, in every village, in every workshop. They remind us that woodworking, at its heart, is about connection. Between people, between generations, between the living and the departed. It is about creating beauty that serves life, not just adorns it. And it is why, despite the pressures of modernity, this craft continues to inspire, to comfort, and to unite. If these stories have touched your heart, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support allows us to keep sharing these timeless human stories and to honor the artisans who remind us that in every piece of wood, there is a story waiting to be told. In our next chapter, we will explore how Vietnamese woodworking is evolving today, how young artisans, new technologies, and global influences are shaping the future of this ancient craft. Stay with us, the journey continues. As we have seen, Vietnamese woodworking is rich in history. It carries deep meaning and timeless beauty. But what about today? In a world of mass production, plastic, and fast fashion, can this ancient craft survive? Can it adapt while staying true to its soul? The answer, is yes. And in many villages across Vietnam, the story of woodworking is entering an exciting new chapter. Let's explore how this craft is evolving in the modern world. First, we must acknowledge the challenges. For decades, cheap imports and factory-made furniture flooded the market. Many traditional workshops struggled to compete. Younger generations left the villages, seeking jobs in the cities. Some feared that the old skills would fade away, that the sound of chisels and planes would fall silent. But then, something remarkable happened. A new generation of artisans, inspired by both tradition and innovation, began returning home. They brought fresh ideas. They embraced new tools without abandoning old wisdom. Today, it is common to see workshops where ancient hand tools sit alongside modern CNC machines. Young woodworkers understand that technology is not the enemy. It is a tool, one that can free their hands for more creative work. For example, in Dong Qui, many furniture makers now use CNC routers to cut basic shapes. But the fine carving, the soul of the piece, is still done by hand. The machine helps us work faster, says one young artisan. But only the human hand can give a piece its spirit. Another exciting development is the rise of modern design within the craft. In places like Hoi An and Hanoi, young designers are collaborating with traditional woodworkers. Together, chairs inspired by Vietnamese folklore, lighting fixtures that showcase hand-carved motifs. These works appeal to a global audience and show that Vietnamese woodworking is not stuck in the past. It is alive. It is evolving. Export markets are also growing. Vietnamese wooden furniture and art are now prized around the world, from Europe to North America. But artisans and designers are mindful of sustainability. There is a growing movement toward using reclaimed wood and responsibly sourced timber. We must respect the forests as we respect the wood itself, says one master carver. Workshops are also embracing digital storytelling. Social media platforms, YouTube, and online marketplaces allow artisans to share their work with the world. A young woodcarver in Mai Xuyen can now connect with collectors in Paris or New York, bringing the beauty of Vietnamese craftsmanship to new audiences. Many workshops offer virtual tours, allowing viewers to witness the process from tree to art. These connections create appreciation. And help preserve the value of handmade work in a digital age. Yet, amid all this change, the heart of the craft remains the same. In every village, you will still find elders teaching young apprentices. You will still hear the patient rhythm of chisel on wood. You will still see artisans pause to touch the grain, to breathe with the piece they are creating. Technology is helpful, one artisan says, but tradition teaches us why we carve, not just how. This balance of old and new is what gives Vietnamese woodworking its enduring power. It honors the wisdom of the past while embracing the possibilities of the future. And in doing so, it reminds us all that craftsmanship is not a relic. It is a living language, one that speaks across time and across cultures. If you've enjoyed this glimpse into the modern world of Vietnamese woodworking, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue documenting these evolving stories and celebrating the artisans who carry this craft forward. In our final chapter, we will reflect on the timeless relationship between wood and the human spirit. We will consider what this ancient craft teaches us. In a modern world so often rushed and disconnected, stay with us. The journey is nearly complete. We have reached the end of our journey through Vietnamese woodworking. But in truth, this is not an ending. It is an invitation. An invitation to look at the objects around us and to see more than their surface, to understand that behind every carved line, behind every polished surface, lies the story of a tree, the story of an artisan, the story of a culture that honors both nature and human hands. In Vietnam, woodworking is not just a craft. It is a way of seeing the world, a way of practicing patience in a world that moves too fast, a way of cultivating respect in a world that too often takes without giving, a way of finding harmony between tradition and innovation, between form and spirit. And above all, it is a way of connecting with the past, with the forests that give us life, with the ancestors whose hands shaped wood long before our time, and with the generations yet to come who will inherit both the knowledge and the responsibility of this craft. There is something deeply human about working with wood. Unlike metal or plastic, wood is alive. It breathes. It changes with time. It carries the memory of the earth and the energy of the sun. When an artisan carves wood, they enter into a relationship with it. They listen, they adapt, they give, and they receive. And when we hold a finished piece, when we run our fingers across its grain, we too become part of that conversation. We remember that beauty is not in perfection, but in presence. That value is not in price, but in meaning. That craftsmanship, at its best, is an act of love. As we look to the future, let us remember the lessons of this ancient craft. In a world of fast consumption, let us honor what is made slowly, with care. In a world of fleeting trends, let us value what endures. In a world of noise, let us find peace in the quiet dialogue between human hands and natural materials. Whether you are a collector, a maker, a lover of art, or simply someone who appreciates beauty, there is something for all of us to learn from Vietnamese woodworking. Something timeless, something universal. And so, as we close this journey, I invite you to take a moment to look around your own life, to notice the wooden objects that surround you, and to ask yourself, who made this? What stories does it carry? How can I honor the craft and the spirit behind it? And if this exploration has moved you, if you wish to continue discovering more timeless crafts, more human stories, more moments of quiet beauty, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us keep sharing these precious traditions and to honor the artisans who keep them alive. We thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope it has inspired you, as it has inspired us. Until next time, may you walk gently, may you see deeply, and may you carry the wisdom of the hands into your own life. Thank you.
Bà 2 mét 2 thì